Hello, nerds, and welcome. We are Crossing the Nerdverse, bringing you yet another episode. My name is Travis. I'm joined, as always, by Eric. We are without Ryan and Clark today. Both of them are combating some type of illness. Going to be curious if it's both of them have the same one. Uh,
I
Perhaps
mean,
further questions would have to be asked.
y- y- I, I feel
Just
like
kidding.
there's something going on.
Clark was complaining about having a cough, and Ryan was complaining about having some rather violent expulsions. So we'll leave it at that. Just putting Ryan on blast.
That's perfect. Oh
No,
my
yeah,
god.
both of them feeling a little under the weather. I have no idea what's wrong with either one of them. So disregard that previous comment. I'm just being a jerk because they're not here to defend themselves.
And that's what counts, folks.
But yeah, so we're not going to be doing a full topic run tonight, as this is the intro to March Madness. We will be reviewing some tabletop RPGs in the coming month, so definitely stay tuned and check in for that. Tonight, we're just going to kind of go through the Nerdverse and talk just a little bit about the news. I will say for the intro to this one, I got to ask Eric, did you watch any of Elimination Chamber, or were you just waiting for me to give you the play-by-play?
Yeah, I was just waiting for the play-by-play. I wasn't surprised by any of the results or
Hey man,
anything like
three
that.
three out of four.
Yeah, I
Got
mean, you
three out
did
of
have to
four.
take the big whiff. I mean, you
I
went
and
with
I
the
knew I
not
was going
safe
to.
play. Yeah.
Yeah, I knew I was going to on that one. That one was a pick of the heart instead of a pick of the brain. I knew Drew was going to win that men's elimination chamber. The writing has been on the wall, especially with all the fantastic jabs he's been getting in at CM Punk for being injured again, which is freaking fantastic. If you guys haven't checked it out, go check out Drew McIntyre's CM Punk shirt. It's freaking hilarious.
I'm definitely surprised there was no big twists. It seemed like to me like there might have been like in the matches a little bit, but like I'm
Yeah.
surprised there was no like awkward winner. It was pretty easy to kind of pick the winners of this and kind of know what was
hmm
going to happen.
No,
So
for sure. It was a pretty straightforward pay per view. There's really no surprises. I think the AJ Styles LA Knight feud, LA Knight, is going to be good for Law. All in all, that's a good way to get him really over. Is by putting him on top of the AJ Styles feud. I would have loved to see him and Logan Paul.
I think that would have been a better
I
one.
think the verbal spars on that would have been fantastic. I think the problem would have been is they need to coach Logan Paul a little more on what's okay for TV, if you know what I'm saying. Some of his
Yeah.
promos have gotten a little close to the line, and I think when you put him against somebody who has as much microphone experience as LA Knight, it would push Logan Paul to like an echelon that WWE is currently not comfortable with.
Yeah, it makes sense. I mean, because he made his career off some pretty crazy things, which isn't
Right.
bad by any means.
No.
He's pretty good at it. Like, I don't know if you ever watched the episode where like this Russian comes over to box him and like keeps bothering him to box him, and then he boxes him. Like, and it
I
looked
haven't
like a
seen any of
decent
it.
little thing.
I,
Like,
I can say I
he's
haven't watched
good.
any of Logan Paul's stuff. He's
He's
a phenomenal athlete. He's a great pro wrestler. All in all, I hate the fact that he's pretty much just part time. But if he's going to be going full time,
yeah. Supposedly that new contract he signed was so he would start being more like full time. So
yeah,
it would be good to see. I don't know how much you'll get him. I mean,
I think he's going to have a good feud with Randy Orton. That's going to be definitely one to watch. Randy is in good enough shape and is talented enough to push Logan Paul into a really, really good match for WrestleMania. So I wouldn't be surprised to see a Logan Paul Randy Orton match happen for the U.S. title there at WrestleMania coming up.
and
Definitely one to
Orton can
watch.
carry him on the mic too a little bit to make sure that things go well.
I think
So
that one's going to be one where Logan gets to stick to the script. Orton's not the best mic worker that they've got. Um,
no, but like he'll be
he's
good.
better when he gets to just do stuff kind of like behind the scenes where he does his shady, like, heel Orton stuff, ambushing people backstage, sabotaging matches, playing the mind games is where he excels, um, as
Yeah,
opposed to just like a straight promo.
I definitely watched that little like so I was traveling over the weekend because I had to deal with the VA and stuff like that, which by the way, so excited. Actually, they're really good to me, like considering I live in Canada. So like everybody in Maine, VA is like letting me put appointments the same times and things like that. So it's super nice. So when I go up, I'm just very busy. Like I'll be doing
Yeah, it's all
multiple
jam
appointments all at
packed.
once. Oh, dude, it's
Yeah.
miserable. But while I was sitting in a hotel one of the nights, I actually watched some wrestling stuff on there. And one of it was actually like Randy Orton's like come up and things like that. Like even he admits like he was way too young. He didn't know like any better. He wishes he would have like not I don't remember if he says he wishes he would have waited, but he definitely wishes like he would have had a little bit more experience when he got it and stuff like that. But he was the face and he helped carry wrestling for a couple of years
Oh, for
when he was
sure. And
champ.
his feuds with Edge and John Cena were both fantastic. Even the stuff he did with the feud he had with Triple H was phenomenal. Um, he was the youngest heavyweight champion in WWE history, I believe. I think that still may
Yes.
be the case. I don't know if anybody younger has taken the title, but yeah, I mean, just came in, jumped to the scene, jumped to the immediate top of the card, which was fantastic.
I don't think they'll ever have someone his age again do it, only because not that
No,
it was
there's no
bad, it was
way.
just it was a little
He
difficult.
was
It
green.
seemed like
He was
yeah,
green.
and he admits to it, which is fantastic because a lot of times you just get some cocky asshole and they won't admit to
I,
any of that. I mean, I think it took
I think
years
that's his
though.
hindsight. I think that's his hindsight
Oh
speaking
yeah,
more because he was pretty arrogant about it when he first got it. I mean, all in all, didn't have a whole lot of locker room friends at the time, but he would still listen to those locker room guys. From everything I know, listening to like podcasts and interviews and stuff, he really paid attention to those senior dudes behind the scenes. He was just a little cocky about it.
oh yeah, that's nuts though, dude.
Yeah,
Re-
Randy Orton's phenomenal, man. Like he's one of the best.
I was never a huge fan. I didn't dislike him. Like I never liked John Cena. I couldn't get behind the "you can't see me" like his. I actually like his acting though. I think he's a pretty decent actor, and he's only getting better.
I think it was
But
fine. It was a rough. John Cena was pretty much forced down everybody's throat at the height of his career because there was nobody else in the company.
yeah,
Like
so Cena's
WWE
another
got
one that
completely
carried it.
gutted. All of the Attitude Era people left. All of the ruthless aggression people had left. There was investigations about steroid abuse. Um,
So did
they had
Cena
the
come?
problem with Eddie Guerrero and the I forget what the ephedrine
Oh yes,
that caused his heart attack. There was the fallout with Chavo Guerrero. They were having difficulty signing people because contracts were bad. CM Punk dropped a pipe bomb and walked out. Undertaker was getting older. Triple H was getting older. Shawn Michaels was getting older. You know, you couldn't just have these mainstay guys constantly
carry.
feuding with Cena. So it was just him at the top of the card, Big Match John. And it kind of led people to hating him. But
So
now he gets huge pops when he's back. So,
oh yeah, but he was before Orton, right? Orton was
nah,
after him,
same
or
time.
was Orton
Same
same
time.
time? Okay.
Yeah, Orton was injured.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, he's had a bunch of problems with his shoulder. This last one was a back injury, pretty serious back injury. Glad that he recovered and made it back. Shawn Michaels had the exact same surgery 20 years earlier. I want to say
Miracle
a
sign.
considerable amount of time. And his recovery was 5 years compared to Orton's year and like some change. So,
Magic of science, man.
yeah, dude, medical advancements have made things a lot easier on these guys. Speaking of wrestling, I heard you just discovered a new wrestling movie.
Oh yeah, Iron Claw.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I don't know how you're just now hearing about that.
so I always loved like Attitude. Like I've talked about it before, like the Attitude time frame. So like, and a little bit before that, like I watched it a little bit early on, like the early WrestleManias and stuff.
Golden Age.
So yeah, I didn't get into it. Like a lot of the Iron Claw were early '90s and like late '80s.
Yep.
So their time frame, I wasn't really as big into it as I got older. So I didn't really know about them. But yeah, that story's nuts. I didn't realize in like the family being like they're not cursed per se, but like like I don't know how to say it so it's appropriate, but like I get why they
I
would
the,
kind of shy away from them and things like that. Because like when you look at
it's
sports, because
tragic.
wrestling's
Tragic.
but wrestling's a sport, so like people are very big on the superstitious stuff. So I could see people not wanting to work with certain people and being difficult to break in now if they try like, because I think the main guy, the one that lived, the one brother that lived
Kevin.
through it, yeah, his kids I think are wrestlers.
Yes.
So
But they're
that'll be
still not named,
interesting.
but they're not in any big time promotions. I mean, they're in their mid 30s, I think, now already.
Oh, I didn't realize they were that old.
I
Okay.
think so. I'd have to look. Let me look. Let's see.
But I do want to watch that movie, so I will. We'll
It's
give it a
definitely on my.
peek.
It's definitely on my watch list. Like,
Dude,
there's a 100% chance I'm going to see it.
wrestling is such a great thing. Like when you look at everything, like it's so good. Like the things you find out, like because I checked out the Iron Claw, I found out that Sting and like Ultimate Warrior were bodybuilders together and joined
Yep.
wrestling as a bodybuilder group or clique or something like that.
Yeah,
And
it's
then
like a
it
tag
evolved.
team.
Yeah, I think there was a couple of them, like those two and somebody else or something like that. Like they built a little like clique. They brought him into wrestling like that. Like it's so cool, like the things you learn and it all just ties in. It's wild.
Yeah, and the Von Erichs didn't get a whole lot of TV time.
No,
Or
because they
because
kept.
they were a local promotion. I think they were part of Jim Crockett. I think, or I think their dad was the one that owned the promoting company. So a lot of their stuff was
Well, they did. They
in
wrestled.
person. They did some like NWA, some
Yeah, I
TNA,
was gonna say.
some. I don't know if it was TNA. I don't think that existed at the time. They did
No,
some NWA.
NWA. Yeah,
I think
that
they
was
did a
all I
little
read.
WCW too, but I can't for the life of me remember.
Yeah, so good though.
Let's see. Yeah, there's Marshall and Ross Von Erich. They're a tag team, obviously, because there's the Von Erichs. Let's see here.
Yeah, dude, it's so.
Yeah,
good
they
though.
started wrestling in 2012. They're still going.
I mean, you can make it later in life. So, like if you look at some people, it took a long time to click. Like
But they
Austin
haven't
was
been
older.
they haven't been signed to any like super major promotions. I mean, they worked for TNA as far as their national appearance goes, which is fine. But like most of it's been like Major League Wrestling, which is like just above Indies, in my opinion. I'm gonna catch some flack for some of my diehard wrestling friends for making that statement, but if they were major, they would have a major TV deal like AEW or WWE or even TNA. So you guys can just come at me with that.
All right, we should definitely get into some current events. Like, although Iron Claw's not that old, and a
No,
lot of the wrestling stuff we talked about is pretty current too.
yeah.
Like
Sean Spears is back in WWE. For those of you, I have to mention, might as well round out our wrestling news.
Sean, I don't know
Sean
that
Spears, the Perfect 10.
Oh, okay.
10.
Yes.
10. Yeah, he's back, and I just don't care.
He might cut a good promo though. You never know.
He's mediocre. Like he's a hard worker. I'm not taking that away from him. Obviously, he's a hard worker. He's worked for 2 major wrestling companies. He just doesn't really stand out to me. He's like, I don't know. It's like if you picked generic wrestler 5 when you're creating your own like pro wrestler on a video game. I wish him the best. I hope he takes off. Like maybe this return is what he needs to really boost his career. We'll see. But I
He
don't know.
might just be there to help like boost other people's because there's a lot of younger people and not as good of
He's
the
not
mic
that
people
old. I mean, Sean Spears
coming
is
up.
like, I think early 30s, which is like right at the prime for pro wrestling.
I mean, yeah. So I don't know. Maybe he'll take off. We'll see what happens. I mean,
We'll see. We'll see where it goes.
wrestling's a weird world when it comes to fandom. Sometimes
Yeah,
people
I
take
just put
off
him
at
in
weird times.
put him in a feud with Austin Theory, so I can just not care what either one of them are doing.
All right. Well, since we're talking about wrestling, and wrestling always does have some interesting people pulling the strings. So everybody should have found out this week that there's a guy that pulls the strings in Helldivers too.
Joel.
Yeah, I
the
think
War Master.
I do, dude. I think that's kind of interesting. The way they're doing that, the way he can kind of manipulate the war. So
Yeah.
I find that to be pretty
Yeah,
cool.
he provides reinforcements for
Either side.
Yeah, either side. So he's conducting the war effort. I think he conducts more on the side of like the NPCs than he does on the PC side, but yeah,
Um,
Joel is definitely the overlord of Helldivers 2.
yeah, he chooses. It's supposedly he has say in like where the bugs and the bots attack,
Hmm.
and he can reinforce by giving players bonuses. So all those times we got those cool bonuses for a little while, that was thanks to Game Master Joel.
Joel the War Master.
And he also has abilities we don't know about yet, supposedly. But they will be of great surprise and delight, I guess Arrowhead is saying, in the
Well,
future.
keep an eye out for Joel on your servers. You out there coordinating the war.
I'm shooting
Hopefully
him
more
when I
on
see
your
him.
side than against. Yeah,
I'm
Eric's like, I'm
just,
team killing the War Master.
I was just saying, like, why not?
Something tells me that he's going to be bulletproof if he just drops into a game.
Yeah, I think for sure, like it would be interesting. They also showed 2 mechs now. Someone
Yeah.
saw a mech being used. I've read different things on it, so I don't know exactly what.
I've heard
I
a
didn't
lot of
see
rumor mill in
arrowheads.
that regard. So
Yeah, but it'll be cool to see it if it comes out. I think mechs will be
that'd
really
definitely be dope.
useful because right now I don't know about you, but like killing the bigger bugs is a pain in the ass.
Killing the
Um,
bigger bots is a pain in the ass, man.
I see.
The
I'm not fighting
robots are
bots
way
yet.
harder with the frickin' the robots are super difficult. Give me bugs any day.
Yeah, no, I'm still on bugs. I need better guns before I start messing with anything else.
Need some better part
So
drops.
yeah, I just need some better things. So right now I'm playing more of a because I don't use a headset and I should be. So I'm playing more of a support role. So I got a lot more turrets and stuff. And then I've
Yeah.
got the biggest bomb that you can get right now with the planes. So that way I can really take out the big guys. I just sacrifice myself to make sure that I throw it on the big bugs so like it hits them. Um, and then usually I get run over and fucking die. But it's worth it.
I mean,
Um,
you got to
for
do what you got to
democracy.
do.
That's how I look at it. Um, but yeah, so that's I think that's a rather interesting like development in the game. I've never heard of games doing anything like this before, and it definitely sounds like I don't know if Joel works for them or if he's just somebody. Like I'm sure, like in a sense, he works for them. I'm sure, but curious as to
I'm
how he was
positive that he
picked.
works for them. There's just no. Yeah, ugh.
Yeah, I'm gonna be interesting, or if anybody gets to do an interview with him. Um, that would be kind of cool because I've never heard of a game having that. Usually, it's just a game develops. So,
Yeah. We'll see where it goes with it. I have no idea what his position was with the company before all of this started. So, like, who knows? Bones did vouch for me and said Iron Claw was good. It's been getting rave reviews, especially from the wrestling community. Pretty much everybody in the wrestling community was like, "Yeah, it's great."
oh,
I think there was a
everything I
few
read.
professional wrestlers who's like, "I really didn't like the way I was depicted." And I was like, "Well, it's not about you." So,
Yeah, and like that's someone's point of view as a person. Like you don't get to. Well, I
well, it's
feel
also
like I
like
wasn't like that. Like it doesn't
it's
matter what
also
you felt like.
yeah, it's also pretty fictionalized on some portions of it, right? Because it is like
Hmm.
they're having to
The movie.
condense years of story down to a very narrow window for the Von Erich family.
Oh
So,
yeah.
I mean, like I said, I think it's good. I look forward to actually getting some time to sit down and watch it. Kind of hard to find the time right now with a kid to sit down and watch a movie of that like length and seriousness.
Yeah, that's where it is the length and seriousness. I can usually like today I put on Aquaman 2 in the background while I was playing Helldivers for a little bit. I will say awful movie. I didn't even like watch it. I just ended up killing bugs. I peeked over once or twice at it. It was not that great. Um, so I definitely think
It,
Iron Claw is one of those movies where I can't multitask while I watch it. I'm gonna have to just
no,
devote my time to it.
oh for sure, for sure. Um, watch the first episode of the new Avatar: The Last Airbender live action.
Ooh, how was it?
I don't know. Like, I'm gonna watch another episode to see. I wasn't just completely blown away by it. They're sticking pretty like true to the story, which is nice.
Yeah,
It's
that's good.
definitely a huge step up from M Night Shyamalan Lamabam, um, because his depiction of Avatar: The Last Airbender was absolute garbage.
Did he? Oh, he did the
I'm gonna
last
go.
one.
Yeah, he did
I
the
didn't know
last
that.
live action one.
I didn't
I'm
mind it
gonna go
too
ahead and put
much.
that down there as like probably bottom 3 of movies I've seen, and it's definitely not 2 or 3.
But
Bones will bag me up on that one because that movie was trash. It was so bad.
oh, Albie says it's not as good as One Piece.
One Piece set the gold standard for live action, man. That was such a good live action show.
Now the downside is to make it that good, they had to make it so short. So they only got a very few, like limited number of episodes in because they put so much money and detail into the few they did, which I think is good. I like quantity over
Oh,
or I like quality over quantity. I think it's a
yeah,
great way to do it.
a lot of anime can be very condensed. There's a
Yeah,
lot of filler and backstory and unnecessary scenes, even unnecessary characters. I know some people get kind of upset, but
yeah. But some of that though is the like why I love anime is because of the way they do, and I always say it. I'm like a fucking book. Um, it's just the story, like the development of the characters and things like that is so like I've never been sad for most TV shows and cartoons made
mhm.
in North America don't get me as bad as like a lot of the anime stuff, man. Like when like
Oh,
Neji dies.
we're going on this tirade again.
Neji dies, man, in Naruto, dude. That was sad.
Good. I hated Neji.
Did you really?
Yeah,
Oh, he's my favorite until he
I
died.
hated Neji.
Oh man.
No, my favorite was the guy that always said everything was a drag, the super genius that was lazy. That was my favorite
Oh,
guy.
he spoiler
Shikamaru.
becomes Hokage for a while. Um, but yeah, so that was interesting. That's some brand new news, kind of. It was somewhat recent. He became Hokage for a while.
Ugh.
Um,
I stopped watching at the end of Shippuden, and that was pretty much the last of
yeah,
my Naruto stuff.
Baruto isn't the greatest.
It's not
I'm
doing
not
great.
gonna lie. No, it's
Yeah.
definitely not. Like they're bringing back Minato. Is that how you say it?
Minato, I
Yeah, they're
think.
bringing back like the mini series of just him, like because it's just like you got to get
Just
people to
dragging.
come back, dude. You're like, please, please, people.
Uh, so, I mean, speaking of things not going well, uh, Sony and I believe BioWare have been leaning into some layoffs, which awkward
There,
segue to devastating news.
yeah, there's definitely some interesting things going on with the big video game places. Like you're really
Yeah, I
seeing
mean,
a lot of layoffs everywhere, like in the video game industry. And I think they're trying to become more efficient with less people. I think they're hoping if they do this, they're going to get more creativity out of what they got.
it,
I don't know.
yeah, I don't know. I mean, some of these studios, man, like I see some of the stuff they're producing with a staff of, hundreds, and they're like wanting to cut that down to like a staff of 80, and I'm like, you guys aren't making good games like to start with. Maybe less people is not the answer.
I'm hoping what they're doing is they're getting like this means they're going to put more money into the stuff they're using to make games and not AI. I'm not saying that before you beautiful people out there watching and listening go nuts on me. I'm not saying I hope they spend more money on AI. I hope what
I
they're doing is engines and things like that and maybe better work environments for these people and things like that so that way maybe we can get some fucking better video games because
I mean,
when
especially
it
out of the AAA guys, indie dudes are rocking it the last like 3 years. Indie dudes have just been crushing it, um, by comparison to a lot of major studios. But yeah, so those of you concerned with BioWare making layoffs, the Mass Effect game is not at risk. That is still on their planning and development table. So
I
it,
mean, you
yeah,
can't get rid of Mass
it's definitely
Effect.
yeah. I mean, I look forward to a new Mass Effect game. I'm not going to pre-order it or anything dangerous like that, but I am
Well, they're bringing
hopeful
back
and excited.
characters. They're bringing back
Yeah,
characters and worlds and stuff. Supposedly they're going to try to tie in. I've heard a rumor they're going to try to tie in the new world and the old
Andromeda.
world. Yeah, so that would be kind of cool to see because then you get a huge, like you get a lot bigger map.
Man,
It might be too much to do.
I did not hate Andromeda the way a lot of people hated
No.
Andromeda. It wasn't terrible. I was mostly upset that they stopped support for it so fast. That was kind of the thing that chapped my ass on it,
Yeah.
was that they just
Definitely.
quit on that game so fast. But I thought it was okay. I wasn't like blown out of the water by it, but honestly, I wasn't blown out of the water by Mass Effect 3 all in all.
No.
2 is where it really peaked for me. I don't know what it is about the second installment of some games just being above and beyond. Um,
But I think a lot of people, and this goes for movies too. Like I'm going to mention movies and just like some Marvel movies in a minute, but um, I think a lot of fans can't like separate things. I think is part of the problem. Like you have to come at Andromeda in a different lens than like the original Mass Effect trilogy. It's a whole new thing. Like you have to look at it like that. Like can't compare it to what was because it's something different and new. You got to give them a break. The story's not going to be as good. Like it's just
see,
not like it was such a good story, and the first one was such a good story, like that series. It's
oh
gonna be
yeah,
hard to replicate it.
oh for sure, and like I said, it wasn't terrible. I think there were some things they could have done better. Like I said, dropping support for it, I think was a premature move on BioWare's part. But I think the cost structure on it was just like it's cheaper to just cut it off, so they just cut it off.
Well, I think
But
with how mad fans got at the end of 3 and then the new one coming out not doing well, I think
yeah, I
that's
think if
really
the
why
ending of
they cut
3 had been
Slingload.
better,
Yeah.
maybe they wouldn't have been so hard on Andromeda.
That was interesting. But people like you just people have got to learn like there's just certain ways things go. Like so the most recent thing in regards to the movies I was going to mention is like people are mentioning like the new movies that are coming out like Madam Web did horrible. So they're trying to say again, people are trying like there are people out there saying it's because it's a female led movie.
No, I think it's
Okay,
a terrible game
not being
or a terrible
sexist,
movie.
horrid movie. I loved Wonder Woman, had no issues with it. I
Oh, the
actually
first
enjoyed
Wonder
the
Woman was pretty
Marvels.
good.
I thought the Marvels was an okay movie,
I
woman
haven't
led
watched that
movie.
one yet.
It's not like it's nothing great, but here's the thing: Marvel was so great in the beginning with Captain America and everything. It's hard to keep that standard going the whole way through. So everyone's expecting these great things. Like if you look at it, Ant-Man 3 didn't do that good either. And that's a
Man,
male-led
Ant-Man 3
movie.
had some big problems. They wasted MODOK. Like,
Yeah, no, like I'm with you, but I'm just saying, like everyone that's complaining, like the Marvels didn't do well because it's female led, and like Madam Web not doing well because it's not female. Like if you look, superhero movies in general just are not doing great right now. Like the Blue Beetle didn't do good. I thought that movie was actually pretty like really good. I was excited to see that continue on. Um, so
yeah,
I
Bones is even leaning in on it. Is like, has nothing to do with it being female led.
yeah,
Bad
no,
movie. And
awful
I've
movie.
said it before, and I'll say it again. Anytime they like switch directors or producers on a movie and then start doing a heavy amount of reshoots, 9 times out of 10, it's going to come out terrible. You're going to
Yeah,
get like a really mixed script. You're going to get a very mixed vision, because they had a bunch of reshoots and rewrites and stuff on some of the Star Wars movies that didn't do great. They had a bunch of reworks and reshoots on um, the DC movies, and all of them have tanked. Like, it's just so hard to keep a movie going when stuff like that. Uh,
it's just like when everybody teaches you in elementary school on when you're taking a test, stick with your first answer, man. That's what it is at the end of the fucking day. Like when you write the movie up, unless there's something like really serious, like just run with it because it's probably going to be better than trying to fucking switch it up during production, in my
or
opinion. Like,
post production, because then
yeah,
like you
like
get these weird splice ins. Yeah, and like no offense to any of the actresses that were in it, all of them very capable actresses. All of them have very successful careers. I really hope Madam Web doesn't damage their careers with
I
as
don't think
bad
it
as it
will.
is. But I don't think I'm putting that more on the producers and directors' fault than anything, because the actors can only do so much if the script is
Yeah,
absolutely garbage. Like
dude, there's so many good like if you look at like Ghostbusters, we've talked about it before. With the all female cast, that's an amazing cast. It was just not written that well. Like and
yeah, that wasn't it, and it
like that's what I mean. Like
it
you can
wasn't the
make a great
worst
movie.
thing I have ever
No,
seen
I
by
bought it.
far.
One of the last Blu-rays I bought.
I think I didn't see it in theaters. I think I rented it from Redbox. Before I had a whole bunch of like subscription services to watch stuff. So I think I rented it from Redbox, and it was like mid, you know,
People are
it was
just tired
nothing.
of superhero movies. Like I'm gonna be totally honest with you. It's really what it is. It's like you have to amaze us now because Marvel
Oh, there's been
started out
so
so
many.
strong. Like I think the next big set is gonna be X-Men. When the X-Men come out, because they're such a big name, they're such a big series. I think if they do it right, and at the end of the Marvels, you actually see Beast. Um,
See, and I think everybody's getting superhero fatigue. Bone just brought it up in the chat on the comments.
yeah,
Yeah, it's definitely superhero fatigue. It's just been so saturated between TV shows and new cartoon releases and movies and the extended universe and streaming subscriptions and all this other stuff where there's just so much of it right now. It's just become oversaturated. People are just getting kind of burnt out. And it's not for like a lack of love for the nerddom. It's just too much of a good thing sometimes is a bad thing.
but you got to make it different. Like if you look at like Star Wars is doing the same thing, but they're still putting out different style stuff. Like
You you
you're
gotta
very
space you
excited
gotta
for.
space it out though. Like you've got to
Oh yeah,
give
you got to
people
do.
more time. The problem is they're just churning out these superhero things just one on top of the other. And that's great that they have all these grand designs and plans and stuff, but man, like give us a little gap in between them. Let people, separation makes the heart grow fonder, as they say. Give people a little break. Let them come
What
in with fresh enthusiasm.
I think they are this year because I think the only Marvel movie we talked about it before is Deadpool 3 coming out. Other than like if you count Sony's Madam Web Marvel, which technically it isn't because it's Sony. Um, I mean it's I don't even know if it's in the same family. Like I don't know
Yeah,
if it's canon.
yeah, they're
So
definitely taking, like, hopefully going to slow things down. Um, but speaking of things getting cut and slowing down, we have some bad video game news for those of you looking forward to a Star Wars Mandalorian video game that has been officially axed.
yeah, it
That
was not
that
cool to
project,
hear.
yeah, that project never got all the way off the ground. I think they were still in the development and planning stage, um, which a lot of people don't understand that the development and planning stage is different from the development and writing stage, which is where they actually build the game. Development of planning is pretty much just them deciding what type of game it's going to be, who they want directing story or coordinating all of that stuff. So yeah, that's been last I read officially canceled. So big sad in that regard. No Star Wars game coming out that's going to be featuring Mandalorians.
We still got the other one coming out. I mean, I'm not as excited because you don't get to make your main character again. It's another Star Wars game where you play a character.
I'm
They're making
totally
an
okay with
open
that.
world. I am to a point. I would like to make my own character in Star Wars. But I get it. They're hopefully the story's really good. Is
There's
why they're doing this.
there's so many
Um,
good games where you just fall into a character though. Like
yeah. Oh yeah.
it doesn't
Yeah. No,
have to
there's.
be doesn't have to be a custom character every time.
I know, but I've
I
never.
do like seeing my weirdly created character during cutscenes though. That does make me kind of happy sometimes.
Yeah. So like Starfield, the one big thing I loved about it was how you could customize the shit out of your character.
You can
That was
customize the
very
shit out
fun.
of your character in Cyberpunk too. I was impressed with the amount
Yes.
of customization you could get in that game.
So I was
God,
hoping
I still
Star
have to marvel
Wars.
at the turnaround for that. The DLC, by the way, for that game, fan frickin' tastic.
I haven't
Big
played it
thumbs
yet,
up,
so I'll have to.
CD Project Red. Definitely did a
Uh,
good job.
I'll definitely have to check it out because I have not yet.
You totally should.
Um,
Totally should.
yeah, I was definitely a big player of it. I played it from day one. Cyberpunk. I actually didn't have a bunch of bugs like everybody else.
I
Um,
had I had quite a few. I waited for stuff to get patched out before I finally jumped in and finished the game.
I don't know how I got so lucky, but like I think I had like one or two glitches. I didn't play the whole way through though. I will say that. Like I played like probably a dozen, probably maybe 20 hours into it. I
Hmm.
only had a couple glitches. I got very lucky in my playthrough. I don't know why. Probably because it was on PS5 and there wasn't a bunch of extra people everywhere, like so it wasn't very crowded. So maybe that's why I kind of balanced out a little bit.
Yeah,
But
I don't know. I had it on Xbox and I experienced a significant amount of bugs early on. But again, good job fixing it. CD Project Red, good turnaround. Next
that's
time,
ad-
don't force your people into crunch and tell them they're terrible.
yeah, that's absolutely the biggest turnaround in video game history, hands
Oh, for
down.
sure.
That or well, No Man's Sky is kind of underrated for its turnaround. It was awful too when it
It
came
did a
out.
good job. It did a good
Um,
job fixing itself. I think with as dramatic as Cyberpunk 2077 was, I think their comeback's a little more spectacular.
yeah, they were big, but I want to see what AAA's do. They got a bar to like. They got to raise their bar, man. Indie games are just better. If I
Especially after the quadruple A title, Skull and Bones. I'm still
uh,
gonna give Ubisoft an endless amount of crap for that statement.
I don't get,
Quadruple A.
dude. Like, just make a good game.
Yeah,
like,
I
like,
it,
there's
but
no
it's
fucking
laughable
excuse.
to like come out and say that this is the first quadruple A game that's ever been made. Like, dog, the reviewers are going to let you know if you made a quadruple A game. Don't be running out there saying stuff like that because you know you're just going to get ripped to shreds. Like,
Dude, Pal World Helldivers 2 instantly are two games
they're
that are
still
way
crushing
better.
Skull and Bones as far as popularity and like performance goes.
Yeah, like you don't need to be. I think part of the reason I think some of these big companies are cutting people is because they're seeing like smaller studios that care about something can do it. Like you don't need a bazillion people to do it.
No, you don't. I mean, having a bazillion people helps, but like having people that actually give a shit about the product, I think, is more important.
Yeah, because it'll be nice to see. I think with the smaller teams, it'll be easier to have like one person in charge. There won't be as much confrontation probably with people.
Yeah.
I think part of it is the pushback and stuff like that. Maybe who knows? I mean, I just hope that team leads had say in who got let go. I hope it wasn't just corporate that came down and said it. I hope team leads and things of that nature were capable of putting in their 2 cents as to
Yeah.
who they got rid of.
Bones just let us know a little piece of news. Larian Studios, the creators of Baldur's Gate 3, fantastic game, arguably a quadruple A title. Just to get one more jab in at Ubisoft, they're they're inviting people that have gotten laid off from those gaming studios to apply for Larian. So maybe we're about to see Larian blow up and become the new
I
like the
hope
new
not.
active. What if they blow up and get massive success? Look at where some of these, because eventually there's going to be a downturn. It always happens. But look at
Yes,
the amazing things that have come about when companies first took off. Activision, right?
Bungie.
When they first started taking off. Bungie, which Bungie's still pretty small, all things considered, for studios. Bungie's very small
Yeah,
compared to
I just
Activision, Blizzard, Riot,
don't ruin my Larian, all
Microsoft
you people.
Studios.
That's all
Larian
I care about.
Larian has a good chance of exploding in size, putting out a ton of massively good games. Because
They do.
that's how these Dynamo studios all start. Though they start off with a few successful or a massively successful smaller game or smaller budget game, I guess I should say, and then explode. And if Larian can pick up some of those good programmers and stuff that have been laid off by Sony and BioWare,
And
and then
Microsoft.
develop multiple, yeah, and Microsoft, and then develop multiple games at once, it's gonna be a game changer. So maybe we'll see Larian get real big and just start churning out some quality AAA titles in the next few years.
Oh
I'd
my
I'd
god.
like it. I'd love to see a new studio come into the block and just start shitting on all these big dogs.
Yeah, no, it'll be good. I mean, they're doing it right now. I
Yeah,
mean,
I
every
mean, speaking
Helldivers
of
2 and Pal World are better than any AAA game that's come out in the last 6 months. Am I wrong? Like,
uh, Final Fantasy VII Rebirth has been getting pretty rave reviews.
yeah, but okay, that's semi going off in nostalgia too, though. Like a lot of those people are
Yeah, but
also
they've
playing it because
improved
they
that game
played
a
the
lot.
shit out
Like
of it.
the gameplay is different. Character interactions are different. God, the visual upgrade on it is nothing short of miraculous. But
Oh well, that's because of the fucking. You could only go up. Like you could only
well,
go up
yeah,
from original.
no kidding, because it
That
was like
was
what the '90s when that came
Jesus.
out,
That was There were blocks and shit. Like his
early
bicep
2000s.
was like a
They
block, I
weren't
think.
blocks; they were oblong. It's
Yeah,
different.
whatever. I mean, it was
They
great.
did
Like I
have
played
sharp
the shit out
corners
of it.
though.
Yeah.
You could have cut a diamond with the edges of characters.
So okay, so you got one that came out. I literally can't think. There's no other AAA game that came out that can compare. Probably in the
I
last
mean,
year.
I wouldn't even put. It's again setting the new standard, but to say that there's no triple A games that triple A games that came out that aren't any good is is a false statement. Because I mean, there
Well,
was a new
not any
Mario
good. I
game
mean,
that came out
compared
that
to
was good.
them.
That's a triple A studio. But yeah, I mean, there was nobody that was going to touch Baldur's Gate 3. We covered that when we talked about
Yeah.
the Game Awards. Man, there's just no way you're going to get on
Not a
that level.
AAA game either. They were They were
Baldur's
a
Gate
low.
3.
There's more. They were made by like an indie studio. It's a smaller
That's
thing.
yeah, but that's still a AAA title.
You think so?
Oh yeah.
All right. Okay. So one AAA title compared to like the multiple indies coming out. I'll give you that one. Baldur's Gate 3.
Yeah.
That was
Larian smaller
fucking
studio,
nuts.
definitely a AAA game.
Such a good game, dude. I still go
Super
back
good.
and like start it over. I've yet to beat it. I've started over too many times just so I could do
Just
new things.
repeating Act 1 with 1,000
Yeah,
new
over and over
characters.
again. I don't know why. I'm like so
I fall
bored
into
with
that
it,
trap
but
too.
it's so much fun though because you get all the different stuff.
Speaking of AAA titles, Dreadwolf is going to have some major announcements. Dragon Age Dreadwolf, big news coming out for that one. People have been waiting a long time. I'm excited to see some new stuff come out about it. They've been fairly quiet as far as their marketing and like development goes, but supposedly we're going to get we're supposed to be getting a release schedule.
Ooh.
So an expected release date for Dreadwolf. We're supposed to be getting some more in-game animations. We're supposed to be getting I think a rough class outline and or gameplay outline, and a couple of mechanics demonstrations towards the end of the year. So starting end of Q2, beginning of Q3, start looking out for new Dragon Age news. I'm pretty excited.
Yeah, Dragon Age is really good. Great story.
They are bringing back the connected storylines. So if you the way you chose things in Dragon Age 1, 2, and 3 will affect how the world is to an extent for Dragon Age Dreadwolf. From what I hear, again, this is all still rumor mill. I'm hoping that that's going to be the case because I've absolutely loved that about all the other ones.
I'll buy I hope they release it as a package deal where you can get all of them, even if it costs me a decent.
They're on Game Pass. If you have Game Pass, you can get all of them.
Oh yeah, Xbox.
You can get them on Microsoft too. You can get them. I think they have a PC port for them.
Probably.
I'm not 100%. I could be wrong. I've been wrong before. But
no, never would have guessed that.
Yeah, I mean, I'm excited. I love the Dragon Age series.
Yeah, dude, I'm pumped. It was good. Yeah. Like the first one was my favorite, like hands down. I really loved it. The whole concept of like, what were you, a warden or something? That was pretty cool.
Warden.
Yes, and
so that's not the first. There's Dragon Age and then Dragon Age Origins.
Oh yeah, I don't play Origins.
And then Dragon Age 2. Yeah.
Yeah, but
I really liked Dragon Age 2.
It was good. I wasn't a big fan of Origins.
Really?
Yeah.
God, that had some of my favorite characters.
No, it wasn't my
cup.
It
had Morrigan, it had the Grey Warden, it had Alistair, it had Liliana.
No, it was. It wasn't bad by any means. No, fuck no. It was a great game. It was a good game. It just I preferred the first one. That was my fave.
2 introduced my favorite character for the series, though.
Who?
Varric Tethras.
Oh, okay, yes.
Clean-shaven dwarf with the fancy crossbow. Yeah, he's the best, dude. I love his character.
Very fucking talented at killing things. He was. That man was.
Well, I mean, not just that, but it's always up for debate on whether or not he's told anybody the truth about anything in regards to what's happened, which I think is freaking hilarious.
Yeah, it's nuts. And I was trying to look real quick. I heard something about Magic the Gathering might slow down their release schedule. It doesn't look like it though.
I doubt it. There's no way. There's no way Hasbro reigning the cash cow. Are you kidding me? You better watch what you say, or they'll send the Pinkertons to your house.
They'll never find me. I'm not on any fucking paperwork.
They already know where you are.
Probably. Bastards.
Yeah, there's little tracking chips inside your Magic the Gathering boxes.
I'm sure they're in the cards somehow. No, I thought I'd read that they were looking because they realized people don't have billions of dollars to spend on fucking Magic.
No, that's why they're dividing them up to standalone releases and then set releases. So you have a set release that's part of your tournament play package, and then you have your individual releases that are not tournament related. But they are not slowing down production at all.
Oh well.
And I think new Pokemon game was released, or not released, but announced this week, right? Pokemon ZA.
Let's find out. Yeah, it's the new Pokemon Legends ZA. It's the
Yeah.
upcoming 2025 game. We're gonna have to see what they're gonna do now that Pal World came out. How do you
I mean,
compete?
it's Pokemon. People are going to buy it.
Uh,
Like, I don't
but
think they have to compete. I
uh,
really don't. It's a premise is similar between the two. Pal World has the like environmental and like your pals do stuff. Pokemon still has the collection and battle and
story.
exploration aspect, the story, all of that interconnected. So I think while very similar ideas between the two, I don't think Pal World is going to hurt a 2025 release of Pokemon in the slightest.
The only way I think it does is if like PvP takes off in that game and stuff like that, and like that game gets a lot bigger. I think it could. I'm not saying it's gonna dent it. Like it's Pokemon for fuck's sakes. Like everyone's gonna buy it. Like it's not gonna damage it that much. But I do think it's gonna start putting thoughts in people's heads. Like you got to step your game up a little bit here because Pal World lets you do a lot more than just raise pets. So
Right.
it's kind of cool.
Right. And like I said, it's got its aspects where it's different. Like I said, I don't think that's going to hurt, especially with it being a 2025 release. I don't foresee, because people are going to get their Pal World in all year.
That's what I'm saying. If they keep adding stuff like they're adding PvPs, the next thing they're adding, they keep adding and building on and growing the game. I think at that stage it could start messing with it a little bit, but not to like
Doubtful. I don't think it's going
nothing
to dent it.
extreme.
Yeah. Hey, 50 players. You got to think, man, those people that are diehard Pokemon, like those diehard Pokemon players, are still going to go get it. Even if they love Pal World, they're still going to go get their Pokemon game. There's less upkeep in Pokemon than there is for like Pal World, because like those games like Pal World and Arc, like you have to get in and grind just all the time. I mean, that was usually one of the things that burnt us out so fast on Arc, and Bones will testify to this, is that it turns into a second job. There's just so much that just needs to get done, because you have to harvest meat, you have to harvest berries, you got to breed stuff, you got to repair your fences, you got to go out and shore up like stuff that you don't have. You have to do, you have to go run and go get your artifacts. You have to do boss battles to unlock the engrams. You got to go gather more shit to build new shit, to get new shit to build shit. And so it just turns into this like abusive second job.
It's why I could never get into those games. Like at least the MMORPGs, like that becomes kind of like a second job, but it's because I'm fighting and things like that, and I'm collaborating. I like the games that I build things, but that I don't like. It's not monotonous. Like I hate having to feed everything all the fucking time. Like that is super annoying. But it makes it interesting in the beginning. I don't know.
It'll definitely wear you out. I actually like those aspects on the survival games because it makes more sense. Like I shouldn't just go get a dinosaur and then it never have to eat anything is ridiculous. Like I tamed it, now it's not hungry ever again. Like no, that's dumb. But yeah, it's definitely a labor intensive game.
Dude, yeah, for sure.
And it's definitely abusive. Arc will shit on you when you're not looking. Like
that's what I'm going to be curious about, like Pal World, how they do PvP. Maybe they started. I haven't touched Pal World lately because I don't have a lot of free time with between the VA lately and then catching up on all of our social media shit that I fell behind on. I got to start putting
do your
out
job, nerd.
Yeah,
Gosh.
I know, right? Like fuck me. Because we are growing, like so it is nice to see like our subscriptions on like YouTube slowly goes up and things like that. Because I refuse to pay somebody even though we get offers like every week to like fucking grow the brand. Like I'm good.
I mean,
like we do a little bit here and there and we'll grow as it goes. Like it's not the end of the fucking world.
Well, maybe when we blow up we'll hire somebody, but as it sits right now, unless they want to work for free.
Yeah, I was just saying when we blow up, I plan on not working anymore and just fucking doing this. That's my plan.
We'll see where it goes.
Absolutely.
I plan on winning the lottery and then not ever doing anything ever again.
I will always do this. I'm going to do this until I die. It's a great outlet for my mental health.
I feel you.
And it's just so much fun to do. So I definitely, and like the people we meet, like I'm sad I missed out on the too legit to crit episode we did. With the traveling stuff, it was just not
Critting in
going to
the
happen for me.
Nerdverse.
Yes, so I'm not in the newest episode. I will obviously we'll put it all over our social media when it comes out, when they're done editing it, and things like that. And that's another great show, like and just meeting different people. I'd love to do something. I want to reach out to Dice Company. I really want to like even just to like talk, like just hang out and bullshit. That's an amazing tabletop group. They're really good at what they do. But yeah, there's just so
Oh,
many different things out there.
ADD brain strikes. Happy leap year, everyone. It is the 29th of February. So,
Oh my god, yes.
yeah, if
February
you were
just can't seem to go away. I feel like I'm gonna wake up fucking tomorrow and it's still gonna be the fucking 29th. It's just never leaving. It's been the
no,
longest month
Groundhog's
ever.
Day was earlier. It
Oh
was
fuck.
earlier in February.
Thank God.
I
Jesus.
one of my favorite Bill Murray movies is Groundhog's Day.
Oh, absolutely. You can't like go wrong with that movie whatsoever. I don't think a lot of people would be okay with it today because there's some stuff that happens in it that people would not be all right with.
I don't know. My favorite is The Bath with the Toaster, I think is probably my
Yeah,
favorite.
well, that's what I mean. Like that right there is why a lot of people are
Just
a little sensitive and they don't want to.
tosses it in.
Yeah, they don't want to see that kind of stuff today
His
anymore.
his newscast where he's like, it's Groundhog's Day again. Like everyone's just like, lady was just like super sad. He's like crying, holding the microphone.
But yeah, so and some other shows though, like we're just trying to link up with other shows. So the next 2 episodes for us are going to be reviewing and playing hopefully this new TTRPG
Yeah,
we got in touch with.
All of March is going to be the madness of tabletop RPGs. We're going to be reviewing and playtesting, and then obviously discussing. I believe we're going to have a in-depth discussion on different dice systems. I know Bones is going to have a strong opinion. I can feel it coming.
It's always good. I mean, it's great. I'm going to try to get some other podcasts to throw in on that. Like, just see if they'll like, if we can get some comments generated on our social media. That's one thing I would like to start doing more of is getting more little comments in there. Like some people do. We don't do it as much. We just interact and say good morning and things like that and throw up a video every day. I saw not a lot of people liked our safety video.
I thought it was funny.
Wearing condoms.
Get your nerdy condoms.
Yeah.
Be safe. It was the month of love.
That's the next thing we're gonna make as merch. It's gonna be our own condoms.
It's gonna be wiener sleeves.
Yep, it's very important to wear your raincoat when you go out. It is something you learn early when you're in the military.
Nothing sets the moods like rolling Eric's face onto your ding dong.
Well, you would be ripping it open, so you would have to look at it prior to, and hopefully not ruin the mood.
Surefire way to kill the mood.
It's just seeing me there with the double guns,
the finger guns.
Yeah, just like my character in Helldivers 2. I'm a big finger guns guy. So we're gonna do that, and then this Sunday, actually, I'm gonna spend most of Sunday doing the round table with a couple other podcasts. I'll release the names of the podcasts and everything once I got the show locked down. I know for sure Too Legit to Crit's going to be involved.
I love those guys. They're so much fun.
Yeah, so they'll be involved in that too. There's a couple other shows. I just want to lock down and make sure everybody's actually there and everything before I start putting too many names out.
Speaking of this weekend, AEW has a pay-per-view coming up. It is going to be Sting's farewell match. So you big wrestling fans, current and past, Sting is going to have his final match. I'm going to watch it on YouTube once it gets released because I can't afford the pay-per-view.
Yeah, the pay-per-view is too expensive.
It's like $70, man.
Yeah, like fuck that. Like it's not.
Yeah, I was going to see. Yeah, WWE is going to be in Dallas on March 8th, and I was going to get tickets, but I was too slow. And now the only people that have tickets are scalpers, and I am not paying $900 to get mid-level seats.
Dude, try to get a press pass. See what happens.
See if I can get a podcast.
Yeah, say you're part of a podcast. I do have to LLC us still. I'm looking at New Mexico. Because I can do New Mexico from Canada. So
you should move to New Mexico.
I do want to come back to America.
Just move to Oklahoma. I hear land's cheap. Land's about to be real cheap in the Texas Panhandle.
I
For
can't
those
do
of you that don't know,
Oklahoma.
it's on fire.
Is it really? I
Yeah,
didn't
all of the
know.
Texas over 1 million acres right now. Just super sad. Yeah.
Damn. What?
Yeah, I
I did
think
not know.
so far only one fatality, which over 1 million acres is miraculous because I think the last big fire in the Panhandle in like 2011 killed like 13 or 14 people.
Damn, I did not know that.
Yeah,
Albie
yeah,
said
it's
Land
super
of
on fire.
Enchantment, and James
You,
said burning like a
Albie,
motherfucker.
Albie, you misspelled entrapment. It's the land of entrapment.
But I can't go back. Fort Sill's there.
In
I have
Texas.
PTSD. No, in Oklahoma.
Oh,
So
I was Bliss. Bliss is in Texas. I was thinking,
yes,
yeah,
I was
Fort
also
Sill's in
there.
Oklahoma. There's nothing wrong with Fort Sill. If you're a big fan of methamphetamine, that's a place to be, dog.
Or in the army now.
Lawton really, really digging on the amphetamines, man.
All right, so just
We're gonna get beat up for some of the statements.
all right, so everybody check out our merch, check out our social medias, subscribe on our YouTube, and on our what's that other fucking thing we do? The one with videos, TikTok, yeah. So
yeah.
Do our YouTube, do the TikTok. I'm not gonna give some big spiel about anything. Just go and fucking subscribe. Well, you'll enjoy us.
We made it past the
funny.
3-minute mark before the F-bombs started dropping, so that's good news. We're not going to get censored right away on YouTube.
Yeah, you know,
I'll be no OnlyFans, but I do sell things. It is $5 to receive a nude picture. It's $25 to never get one. So you got to decide. There's no other option though. You're either going to start paying me $5 every time I send one, or you're going to pay me $25 right away to shut it off.
I was thinking of doing that with Patreon.
Hey man,
but
whatever.
Yeah.
You know what? Whatever keeps the lights on, man. I'll sell pictures of my feet.
I know, that's what I'm saying. But I do have to get Patreon up, and like it's up. I just have to put something. I got to get input from people.
I got to figure out what we're gonna put on there.
Yeah, I don't want to put some bullshit, especially because there's money involved. Then I can't put out shit content if it's
none of us are attractive enough to sell jars of our bathwater either. So we're gonna figure something out.
Oh, I definitely am. And I bought this new Pikachu stuffy that rides in my car with me.
Oh, Pikachu again.
So like now I'm set,
I just want one episode, Eric. One episode.
It's never gonna happen. I think we should do a thing, like a poll somewhere. How long can Eric go without fucking saying Pikachu?
Oh, it's gonna be the shortest poll ever. Everyone's gonna be like same day, and then like that's
no. You got to bet in the episode. Everybody, we should do that. Whoever gets closest to what time stamp I say it in an episode, they get a T-shirt.
Dude, if they can knock it down, if anybody guesses it to the second, I'll send you a T-shirt.
Like, because it took 57 minutes and like 40 seconds this episode for me to say Pikachu.
That's fair. Yeah, you never know. But we can't go a single day without him being mentioned.
No, absolutely not. I'm actually trying to learn the language right now. In case you're wondering, there is a language out there where you say Pika certain ways, and it means where
don't do it.
I'm trying to become fluent so I can put that on my resume that I speak English and Pikachu.
Oh my gosh. And with that, I'm ripcording this thing. We're done.
Mention the website. You gotta go to our website, crossingthenerdverse.com.
It'll have links to everything.
Everything's fucking there. Just go there.
Maybe that's what we do on Patreon is just have you speak. We can send out cameos of you speaking in Pokemon to people.
Dude, you just did it. I'm gonna put myself on Cameo tomorrow. And that's
dude. I'm sure there's gonna be a long list of people hoping to get a freaking cameo from you, dog. Our 5 loyal fans in the audience right now are just dying to pay you $30 to say what's up.
In Pikachu.
In Pikachu, yeah. In Pikachu. Oh my gosh. All right. Well, with that, we're gonna bring this episode to a close. Thanks for joining us. We are Crossing the Nerdverse. We'll catch you next time.
Don't forget the raincoats.